Welcome to this episode of How to Crush No-Limit Hold'em Games in United States Casino. I'm June. Today we're continuing on our 777 bargain tournament for this year's WSOP event. If you haven't seen the last episode, please check here and let's go fishing. So today we're continuing our hand review for the 777 bargain bracelet event. For the first hand of the second buy-in, after I missed a flush draw and folded on the river, my chips are down to 27k. And blinds are up to 300-600, but we still got 40 big blinds to play. First hand I got pocket 5 on the button and I raised it to 1200, big blind calls, flop comes king queen 4 2 heart, he checked to me. This board I can definitely bet a lot of range in my hand, particularly pocket 5s need a lot of protection. And I bet for 1000, opponent calls. Turn comes a 6 of club. Opponent checked to me. I chose to check back. But I'm really curious about whether solver would suggest us to keep betting on the turn. And it seems like on this turn, solver would check back a lot of queen X, pocket pairs, and some good ace high. Betting range would be polarized, using some pure air or some really good mate hand. And also some worse ace high, because we can fold opponent's better ace. And also the sizing would be a very large size. But if we were switching the position to under the gun versus big blinds of tighter range, small pair would be our choice to turn into a bluff. But pocket 5 still beat a lot of 4x hands in opponent's range, so we're still not betting pocket 5s. So turn after we both checked, river comes a 10 of heart. Opponent check. I don't think I can get any value from opponent's range, so I choose to check. And very luckily opponent shows ace-9 offsuit, so we successfully take it down. Then the next hand blinds are up to 500 and 1000. Under the gun player open raise to 2200. Hijack calls. I got 6-7 suited on button and I choose to call. But I don't think it's a very good decision because our chips are not very deep. If we take a look at wizard, it would suggest us to call if we are 50 or 60 big blinds deep. Anyways, I call. After I call, small blind also calls, so we're entering a 4-way flop. Flop comes ace-7-5 rainbow. All players check to me, and I bet for 2500 because I got position, and I can deny a lot of equity from opponent's 2 high card. And also I got a backdoor straight draw. And small blind calls, other players folded. Turn comes a queen of diamond. Opponent checked to me. And given that he's the first player to call on the flop, he's representing a very strong hand, so I choose to check. River comes a jack of diamond and complete a backdoor flush. However, I didn't get a diamond in my hand, and opponent check again, I choose to check. Opponent shows 7-10 suited. I almost muck my hand, but after I take a careful look, because the board has an ace queen jack, so we are going to chop the pot, which is a very lucky run-up. Then the next level we don't have any hands to play and our chips are down to around 20k and the blinds are up to 1000, 2000. And this hand, low jack, high jack, button player all choose to call the big blind. I got king jack offsuit on the big blind and I have only 11 big blind left. I decided to shove all in. All player folded, fold to bottom player, he chose to call, and he shows ace-6 of heart. So now we're a little bit behind, and flop comes queen jack 10, so I hit a pair. Turn comes a 10 of heart, so opponent has backdoor flush. River comes the ace of club, so I hit a straight.
Sorry, man.
And very interestingly, a player who folded a hand, he says he folded a pocket 5.
I have pocket 5s, it's not a good board for my hand.
So facing this kind of passive player, it's very good to be aggressive pre-flop because we can fold this type of hand that we have 50-50 equity against us. And this hand, after we double up, our chips are back to starting chips 40k. And then the next hand, low jack player, a very aggressive player, open raise to 4500. I got 7-8 suited on the small blind. Considering big blind is a passive player, it won't squeeze me a lot, so I choose to call. Big blind also calls. Flop comes ace queen 10 3 spades, so I flop a 7 high flush, but we won't have any leading strategy here, so I choose to check. Big blind also checks. Low jack player bets for 6000, I choose to call. Big blind folded. Turn comes a deuce of heart, a complete blank. I check again, he bets for 12,000. I was debating between calling or raising. Considering he's an aggressive player, I choose to call, so giving him a chance to betting on the river. But now if I can choose again, I would probably choose raising. Because we're not very deep, so he has to call his ace plus a spade. And a lot of high card with spade combos. Anyway, I choose to just call and river comes a king of club. I check again, and very sadly he checked back. After I show my card, he muck his hand. I successfully take it down. Then the next hand is the same level, it's 1,000, 2,000. Low jack player shoves all in for 20k. 10 big blinds all in. I got pocket hands on the hijack, I choose to call. All player folded. We show card, he has 8-7 suited. Very nice situation, we only need to dodge 3 ace. Flop comes deuce, deuce, deuce. Turn is a 4, and river comes an ace. So I lose this all in, and my chips are down to 70,000.
Nice hand.
Then the next hand, cutoff player open raise to 4,000. I got 9-7 suited, I choose to call. Flop comes queen, queen, jack, 2 club. I check the opponent, he bets for 6,000. I choose to call. Turn comes a very interesting card, it's an ace of club. Complete the bundle flush, and also the board is 1 card straight. I check the opponent check back. River comes a 3 of diamonds. Because opponent checked the turn, I don't think he has a lot of 10 in his range. And I bet for half pot, 12,000, hoping he can call with his 2 pair, and very sadly opponent choose to fold. Then the next hand, low jack player open raise to 5,000. I got ace queen offsuit, choose to call. Big blind player also calls. Flop comes ace 7 6 3 heart. 2 player check to me. Here I think betting or checking both make sense. I choose to check. Turn comes a 7 of club. Big blind check to low jack player. He bets for 6,000. It's 1/3 a small bet. Don't have too much reason for raising here, so I choose to call. Big blind folded, river comes a 6 of spade. So it's a double pair board, he checked to me again, and I think his range is not very strong. Possibly he's got 10s or jacks, this type of hand, so I choose a small size 12k. He think for a while, but finally he decided to fold. We successfully take it down, and our chips are now 2 times the starting chips is around 80k. Then the next hand, under the gun player open raise to 5,500. Bottom player calls. Small blind shoves all in. He has around 50k chips. And then I'm on the big blind, I got ace king suited. And I'm covering everyone. Under the gun player has around 70,000. Behind around 28 big blinds. Bottom player are shorter. And ace king suited, I don't think I can fold it here, so I shoves all in.
I'm all in.
Under the gun player didn't snap call, which is a good news, but he didn't think for too long and choose to call. Bottom player tanked for a long time. And very interestingly, I don't know why the dealer don't help us count the chips now. So probably the bottom player are counting the chips.
She wouldn't want it. She didn't count the chips for me, so I don't know.
I had 87.
I asked for a count, she didn't do it, so.
Finally, he chooses to fold, and he shows ace queen.
I think I got the best hand right now, but I need my hand to hold up.
Not good for you.
Only 1 ace.
And everyone shows his hand, and small blind is also got an ace queen. And the bad news is, under the gun player has pocket kings. So there's only 1 ace in the deck, and the board comes 10, 3, 7, 3, jack. So the miracle did not happen. I lost almost 90% of my stack, and I have only 10k chips left. And then next hand blinds are up to 1,500, 3,000. I got ace 5 suited on the cutoff. I have only 10k, 3 big blinds, so I shoves all in. All player folded to small blind player. He checked my chips, he chooses to call. Big blind also calls. Flop comes 3, 7, 8 rainbow. Small blind bet for 20k, and big blind player shoves all in. Small blind player tank for a while and calls. And he says,
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
and small blind player shows king 8, and big blind player is ace 8. So it's a cooler anyway, but for me it's extremely bad news because I almost drawing that. Turn comes a 5 of diamonds. River comes a 10 of spade. So so I'm busted here for the second buy-in. Although we're busted 2 bullets, I still bought in for the last flight the other day because I think there's still a lot of recreational player in this pool. And also there's not many bracelet event that's below 1000 bought in. For the third buy-in, the first interesting hand is I got 8-9 offsuit on a small blind. I choose to call, opponent raised it to 1000. Blind versus blind, so we have to defend our 8-9 offsuit. Flop comes 4, 7, 10, 2 club. I check to him, he bets for 1500. I got a double-ended straight draw and also a 9 of club, so I think I can considering raising here, but he's betting a relatively large size, so I only choose to call. Turn comes a queen of spade, and I check to him again, and this time he sized down to bet only 2500. And I still got a double-ended straight draw, so I choose to call. River comes a 6 of spade, so very luckily we hit a straight. And if I check here, considering opponent is sizing down on the turn, I think he's probably got some middling hand and the opponent probably would check back. So I choose to leave out 10k. There are also a lot of misdraw on this board and I can play hands like 9-jack or king-9, this type of hand. But very sadly, after I bet, opponent choose to fold. But I successfully to take down the first part of the third buy-in. Because the length of video, I'm going to end here for this week. But we'll continue sharing the hands for this tournament next week. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
That is your chance to be ruthless.